Yo, what's up, fellas? Today we were talking about FlyKnight, which is an indie dungeon crawler that's kind of like Dark Souls, but I guess Dark Souls is based off of Kingsfield, but FlyKnight is more based off Kingsfield than it is Dark Souls, so instead of this being a Souls-like, it's a Kingsfield-like. You can find this game for $6 on Steam, which overall I think is a pretty good price, and if that's all you wanted to know, you can click off the video now. If you want to hear the actual review of the game, keep on watching. So like Dark Souls, right, there's these things called campfires, which basically act as the bonfires. Once you go up to them, they'll replenish what your stand-in for the Estus is, which is just a normal health potion, and it'll completely refill your health, magic, and stamina. Now, the health potions are weird, right? Because in Dark Souls, you can actually upgrade them throughout the game, but to my knowledge at least, there's no way to upgrade the health potions. So you're stuck with 4 throughout the whole entirety of the game, but that's not really a problem, at least from what I experienced. On the topic of not being able to upgrade the Estus, this isn't an RPG in the traditional sense anyways, since you can't level up stats, but new gear is basically like leveling up in FlyKnight. Combat is mechanically different with each weapon type in the sense that the game has directional attacking, kind of like Morrowind, and different weapons have different limitations for the weapon's direction. There are also different stats to consider, like damage and the reach of a weapon. So daggers are going to be faster than poles, but they're going to have a smaller reach than a pole. There's a whole litany of different weapons. I'm talking maces, big hammers, halberds, swords. You can even use shields in tandem with some of the weapons. Shields are really cool too, because in like Dark Souls, you can parry and then you get a free stab, but in this game, if you successfully parry, you can kick them in the ground, kind of like Dark Messiah. And once they're on the ground, you can smash them with a big hammer. Or not, you could just let them get back up if you really feel like it. There's a bunch of different suits of armor, which I'm sure it affects your stats in some way, but I only ever just used the highest defense armor that I could find, so I was pretty slow throughout the whole game, but that didn't matter because I was just a walking tank with a giant pole arm. Coming back to talking about weapons, the combat honestly works the best if you're using a bunch of different weapons in tandem, and the game kind of encourages that by allowing you 3 different weapon slots. So for example, you could have a crushing hammer in your first slot to get through defenses, in the second slot you could have a sword and a shield to up your defenses, and then in the third slot you could have a halberd to really get on the offensive. On top of that, there are 2 ring slots and 2 magic slots, and you'll find new rings and magic as you go out through the game and loot chests. You'll want to keep an eye out for these chests while you're playing the game because, like I said, this basically serves as your level ups, and if you miss them, you might find yourself underpowered. Although I didn't have this problem, but then again, I was looking for chests constantly. My predominant playstyle was fat armor and a long pole, but there were other weapons I would use at times, like this hammer was pretty fun. And there's this one ring that I found that was really cool when paired with a halberd, right? Because it allowed me to chop off enemies' limbs and get health bonuses from it. So after I found this ring, my main weapon was a halberd because it gave me free HP pluses. I didn't really find magic that useful when I was playing, but there were 2 gimmick spells that I found that I really liked. One was this ground control magic that I could use to push enemies off of me so that I could recover some stamina, and then there was this other one that shot like a red orb and it did some chip damage over time. More gimmicks than anything, but it was nice. The gear that I was finding and replacing with my old gear over the course of the 3 hours that I played this game did contribute to me feeling like there was an actual progression system, right? Because at first I did feel really weak and squishy, like a fly is supposed to be, but by the end of the game, I kind of felt like an unstoppable badass. I mean, at least as badass as a fly can get. So if there was one thing about this game's gameplay that I didn't like, that would be the stamina system, because it's basically like Morrowind's on PEDs. Just about everything uses stamina except existing, and you need to be really careful when entering combat, and you need to monitor that stamina, because if it's 0 and you get hit, well, you get knocked over and taken out of the fight. The game overall feels like a really well done Morrowind mod that overhauls the game's combat. It's good. The stamina was annoying, but I never felt like I was killed from forces beyond my control. Like, when I died, I was like, yeah, that was on me. And it was never like, oh my god, I died, what the frick. This is the Dark Souls of dungeon crawlers. Alright, so now we're gonna talk about the story. I'm not gonna go too in-depth with it, but I am talking about it, so be warned. Right, so you're a squire, a part of an order known as the Order of FlyKnights, and you were enlisted to fight an evil witch named the Luna Moth. Now, the reason we're going to go fight this Luna Moth is because she cursed the realm that you reside in so that people couldn't grow their wings, which really isn't a problem for your character because he's a wingless fly, he was born without wings, but the other guys seem pretty upset about it. And it's not like she took away their wings. You find out throughout the game that the wings slowly decayed off the people she cursed, which is like if your penis slowly decayed. Right, so the game follows the adventure of your squire trying to destroy this ever-powerful Luna Moth and eventually become a knight. It's a fun story, and I was invested throughout the whole thing, and I really felt heroic once I was done completing it. I felt like the hero that this realm needed. There was this one part where I had to help other Fly Knights defeat the zombies, and it felt nice having someone alive and friendly, because along the way you find a lot of dead flies scattered across the map, which kinda just makes you feel lonely and sad because all your comrades are dead. I mean, the gore isn't gruesome or anything because it looks like RuneScape, but it definitely brings the mood down, and being able to interact with these people is nice. And the only other alive Fly Knight that you find before this is a guy that's like, hey, you suck. I don't want to be friends with you. All in all, I would say that FlyKnight is a really fun experience, and if it's in your Steam wishlist, that you should get it. It's only $6. What's stopping you? I bought it on sale, but honestly, that feels like kind of a scam to the developer because it's definitely worth the $6. Alright, so if you like this video, drop a like on the video, subscribe to the channel if you are new, and I will see you guys in the next video. Hope you guys like my return to form review. I tried to do this in the style that the Doom 3D mod was done, and I didn't script it. So that's the real thing, is I didn't script this video. That's why it's return to form. I just wrote down a bunch of things that I needed to hit on, and I think I did pretty well. I don't know. We'll see how you guys feel about it. Peace.